My name is Rory Hoare and I'm the Science of Safety Practice Development Lead in Medway. Welcome to this short video on the topic of strengths questions. Once you've watched this video, please feel free to contact me with any questions you have or to request one-to-one to discuss a specific case or situation you're working with and to create or apply strengths questions. The link to my email is in the description below, or drop me a message on Teams. In the description below, there's also a link to the Science of Safety SharePoint page. Here you'll find more training videos, slides that go with them, direct work tools, and a range of anonymised good practice examples. There's also the link to the Mosaic resources and guidance page. Here you'll find resources to navigate your way around Mosaic and some worked best practice examples. So in this video, we will look first of all at why we use and create strengths questions. Then we'll look at making some particular types of strengths questions. And then there is a short worked case example. So first of all, why? So first thing to say is if we don't ask, we don't get. Science of Safety is a strengths-based model. And I think families are very, very ready to talk about their worries, and they're ready to be asked about their worries. I don't think children, families, young people, whoever you're working with, aren't necessarily in a place when we meet them, if they're in a place of crisis or trauma or whatever it may be, to sit there and talk about all the things that have or are going well in their life. So actually it's on us to think about strengths and to ask about them. So a little bit of forethought and preparation is our responsibility. It's very human, it's very relationship building to actually ask an individual about their strengths. I think that's a really important but simple point. We need to actually help children and families discover. Sometimes it takes a bit of time for people to recognise what is going well in their life or has gone well previously, and to celebrate that alongside them. Sometimes it's an easy process and sometimes it's harder, but it is our responsibility to find out not just about the worries, but about any strengths that are occurring. And the absolute ideal is the more we draw out strengths and strengths and strengths is actually they may become something better than that. They may become safety, a solution to the situation. So the more we can draw out from whoever it is you're working with, the more it could turn into something that sticks in the longer term. So I'm mindful I'm recording this video. A range of people may watch it. You might be a social worker in the assessment service who predominantly goes out on Section 47 investigations with the police. You might be in family solutions. You might work in MASH. You might be in the 16+ team. Unless it is completely inappropriate, we need to think about leading with strengths questions, starting our conversations on the phone, in person, in visits, in meetings, when we're assessing with strengths questions. Obviously, we have our legal duties and things we are investigating at times, but actually it is important to lead with very simple, none of these are world-beating, groundbreaking questions, but things like what is going well for you as a family? What has gone well for you since I last visited or we last spoke? Even if you rang at 4 o'clock the day before to visit a family at 9 o'clock the next morning, there's quite a lot of parenting occurs between 4 p.m. and 9 a.m. So actually there's an assumption in that question that something has gone well. So let's ask about it and find out about it. You're still going to discuss the referral issue or your allocation issue. What do you do well as a parent or carer? What are you most proud of? What does your child do that makes you proud? I appreciate there are some situations where children are scapegoated or a family saying, take them away, I'll sign a Section 20 agreement, but actually it's a really important question to ask about what does make you proud, or what has previously made you proud. If things are that difficult at the moment, what's the best thing you and your children do together? Who helps you be the best parent you can be? And who does your child enjoy spending time with? These are quite general, generic questions. That's not to put them down. They're in no way exhaustive. It's just to kind of pause for a moment and think, actually, if you were on the receiving end of services, I think you would probably want a practitioner sat in your front room asking you these questions or similar questions to this, and being interested in, yes, the concerns that have led to a local authority involvement, whatever that looks like, but also understanding what is and what has gone well for you as an individual, as a parent, as a carer, as a young person, whoever you may be. So just to pause to think, how often do we lead with this, and how important that can be in terms of relationship building and ultimately building trust and working with us. So I'm going to move on to something a bit more specific, which is some specific types of strengths questions. So what I like about these is they are a strengths-based way of looking at worries, and I think that can be really helpful. So rather than just what is working well for you as a parent. So there are 4 types on here, so just to walk you through. So exception questions. So to help someone, whether it's a parent, carer, young person, and identify when a problem has been completely eliminated or just managed a little bit. So an example of this is if a parent or carer or young person is drinking or using drugs problematically, and they say they, I don't know, binge drink 5 days a week. You're going to ask about what they're drinking, how often they're drinking, where the child is, all of that. But also, if they're drinking 5 days a week, that means there are 2 days a week where they are self-report not drinking. So can you tell me about those 2 days a week where you are not drinking? What's going on those days? Who are you hanging out with? Who are you not hanging out with? What are you doing with your time there? And the idea is, can we make that 2 days into 3 days or 4 days or even 7 days? So it's actually just slightly refocusing, thinking about the worry is a big worry there, but actually asking an exception to the rule. A family where home conditions are really poor, and out of 5 visits, on 1 visit, things are reasonable. What was going on there? What led up to that visit? What was happening on that day that enabled that? So rather than just solely asking about the worries, it's kind of thinking about the exception to the rule. Miracle question is a little bit different. It's a very problem-free way of asking a question. Just saying to someone in your own words, if you woke up tomorrow and a miracle had occurred, what would life be like for you and your family? Or you woke up tomorrow and all your dreams have come true, or woke up tomorrow and everything you worry about was sorted. Quite interesting what people come up with, and then seeing if there's little steps to get there. Next one is a coping question. So the first one was exception questions, exception to the rule. Some things don't work like that. If someone suffered a bereavement, we can't ask an exception question about it, but we can ask them how they got through it. So when you have, I understand that you lost your mum 6 months ago. How have you continued to be a brilliant parent? What got you through that? Who got you through that? What are your habits that have kept you on a level as a mum or a dad? So coping with a situation. And the relationship questions, I think these are very easy to do and quite powerful. So it's essentially inserting a third person in a question. So rather than asking someone, a mum, say, what are the best things you do as a mum? Still a really valid question, but inserting someone into it. So saying to them, if I was to ask your son, what would he say are the best things you do as a mum? That mum then has to stop, put themselves in their shoes, mentalize, to use a bit of jargon, and think from their child's perspective what they would think. Really quite powerful thing to do in terms of trying to understand if a parent can see something from their child's point of view, and whether different parents, separated parents, can see each other's point of view. So there are 4 specific types of strengths questions there. I think they can be really good in terms of thinking about worries in a strengths-based way, trying to draw out some current strengths, or they might be historic if there isn't anything going well right now, to look at the worries in a different way. What I'm going to move on to is I have a short case study here, which I'm just going to ask you to read. I'm not going to read it out for you. I'm just going to pause for a few seconds. Please pause the video and have a read of it for yourself. Okay, hopefully you've read that. So just some example strengths questions based on that scenario. So an exception question we could create there is, you only drink when your son is in bed. Who or what helps you, I'm asking the mum this, who or what helps you not to drink in the daytime? Can we think of a way of doing more of this? So the rule is she is drinking problematically in the evening, self-report. But if we take that on face value, well, that means there's 2/3 of the day you're not drinking. And trying to ask about that and trying to grow that. Okay, miracle question is the same. You wake up tomorrow and a miracle occurred. What would life be like for you and your family? A coping question. So you've managed to stay abstinent until just 6 weeks ago. So it was 7 years she was abstinent for. How did you do this? What helped you to stay off the drink until 6 weeks ago? Who helped you to cope when you were tempted? So who coped with that temptation? And then the relationship question. If I was to ask him, what would your son Sandy say are the best things you do for or with him as his mummy? So again, we're asking that mum to put herself in the shoes of her son and think about what he'd say. What do you think Sandy would say are his favourite memories of things you've done together? So you can ask her the same question, but asking her to think from her son's perspective. So in summary, Strengths questions are very powerful, and it is our job to sit and prepare them before we're going on a visit, going to do an assessment, you're in a meeting. If we don't prepare them, families are unlikely to just present them to us because they're assuming we're going to talk about worries. So that time prepared to create these questions is valuable. If we can lead with them, if possible, that's relationship building, trust building. We want them to be a genuine thing, not, oh, tell me some things that are working well and then we'll crack on with 45 minutes of talking about worries. Something we are genuinely spending time talking about strengths is really important, and it should lead to a balanced assessment and balanced intervention as we move forward. Thank you for watching this. Feel free to contact me with any questions you have, or to request a one-to-one to discuss a specific case or situation you're working with, and we can create some strengths questions together. The link to my email is in the description below, or drop me a message on Teams. Thank you.